single people in the house? Well, it just went from a legacy show to a speed dating night, clearly, right now. So that's pretty good. But one of the themes that I had mentioned when I talked about Alone is the New Black, which ties into You Come First. And I just, 1 year later, I come back to this concept. And the concept is the ripple in the pond effect. If you throw a pond into a ripple. If you throw a rock or a pebble into a pond, there's the concept of the ripples, right? And the whole idea of the legacy show is to make sure that but to give tools to individuals to go, man, if that person did that and that person did that, oh my gosh, these role models are making me go, I can do whatever I want to. And the whole idea of legacy is the things you do create these ripples. Now, you might in your life go, you know what, I don't want to make big ripples. That's fine. You don't need to. You're probably going to make big ripples because you know that, hey, look, I'm happy just making sure my family's taken care of, or I'm happy, teaching this community. You don't have to go for grand. There's no such thing. There's no right answer on how big does a legacy need to be or how big do your actions need to be. It just needs to be in proportion to the size of the contribution you'd like to give. And so the idea of throwing the pebble into the pond and creating the ripples for your legacy or creating the ripples in your industry or whatever you want it to be, the very first ripple, everyone focuses on that that ripple out far into the lake, but if you throw that pebble and it ripples, the first ripple has to occur where? Anyone. At the source, right? The second that pebble hits the water, there's got to be that initial plunk, and that's where that first ripple happens. And there has to be that first one. And in light of Valentine's Day, for those of you who celebrated it with someone or without someone, the idea is you got to start and you come first. And I hope y'all came first on Valentine's Day. And then you have these things where you're celebrating love or you're celebrating pity or whatever it is that you're celebrating on Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day yesterday, it happened again. Here in America, on our doorstep, at a school once again. And it made me think of when I was going to school. I didn't go to college because I wasn't very smart. But I didn't go to college. I didn't know where I was going to go, but I knew I wanted to produce theater. So I went to an acting conservancy, AMDA, right here in the city. And that year was the first mega public shooting, and that was Columbine. And for me, I had no attachment to it. I don't have children. It was in a place I didn't come from. I grew up in Jersey. But that's what happened in Columbine. And I'm not the best reader. I'm not a good reader. Never read a newspaper. I obsessed about the story of Columbine. I read it every single day I could. I bought the newspaper, and I read everything I could about it. I just couldn't fathom that this event happened. And it made me think internally to myself, it was the weirdest thing, and I know this is an irrational thought, but back then I didn't know it was an irrational thought at 20 years old. But I took it personally. I took responsibility in a way saying, oh my God, as an artist, what did I not create that could have prevented that? Whether it was, what could have I created that could have had the shooters connect to something in their own life where they didn't feel the need to go out and harm others? Or what could have I created to inspire somebody to go out and create something or be able to offer the help or the support or the love that's necessary to those shooters? And I really took this very personally and very deeply, and I dwelled on it, and I just felt responsible as a member of the artistic community. And now remember, art is not limited to being on a stage. It's not limited to a storytelling show. It's not limited to anything. Art is anything you pour your full self into. And so the reason, besides the fact that it just happened and it's again, and every time I sort of have to guard myself when one of these shootings happen, because I just can't keep feeling that level of responsibility and that level of pain. But my point is, that was the moment, and I was going to an acting conservancy, that I went to all my friends, and I said, why do you perform? And I went to probably 100 to 200 people, somewhere in that range. I said, why do you perform? Why do you create? Why do you do this? And not one person said to serve another human being. It was either to, to prove my parents wrong, to be famous. Nobody said because I want to help other people. And that was the moment that I said, I want to create a world where everyone gets to do what they love. And in order to do that, you got to come first. You're not here to please another person. You're here for you. Life on your terms. Because imagine if more people in this world pursued work that was meaningful to them. And we're going to have some role models up here this evening tonight who all come from 4 different backgrounds, all pursue their unique passions, and they're very unique passions. And I believe we all have our very unique passions in the world. And so, to pay homage to what just happened in Florida, I invite you to open your minds and open anything else that you want to open in this space here tonight, and to recall, remember, remind, recall whatever it is that's important to you. And that's the purpose of the Legacy Show. Are you guys ready to go on that journey tonight? Yeah. Absolutely.